Please. Talk to me this one time.
There's something about Indika that I absolutely love.
Tell me something. If you're God's chosen one, why didn't God heal you completely right away?
That's a good question.
Jill Valentine has her weapons and agility. Lara Croft has her parkour and mega brain strategy. I can't play Tomb Raider. Ellie has grit and survival instincts. Rosemary has her infinite stamina and a solid throwing arm.
God, Rosemary, do so.
And Indika, well, she can pray.
Fell among thieves and was wounded, so have I also fallen through my sins, and my soul is.
That's not her only talent, of course.
I'm sorry. Maybe I can help. You're the last person I need right now.
She could outwit, outrun, and outlast just about every obstacle put in her path. The devil himself, and, predictably, men. With a little help from time to time, of course.
Didn't have enough, you motherfucker. I got it again.
When envisioning Eastern Europe during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, one might conjure up scenes of harsh winter weather. Snow falling heavily, the sky cloaked in gray, and clouds hanging low. It's a landscape reminiscent of Bulgakov's or Dostoevsky's novels, with an added layer of inexplicable mystery lurking beneath the thick blanket of snow. Indika, too, shares this atmospheric quality, albeit with a surreal twist. The game presents a whimsical distortion of traditional Russian landscape, a kaleidoscope of the fantastical and grotesque. Set in a parallel universe, it evokes a feeling of a fairy tale on acid, where even the most familiar elements take on twisted forms. Buildings and mechanisms, though grounded in logic, possess a mystifying irrationality, each detail conspiring to confound perception. Indika boldly diverges from the modern visual mainstream. Here, you'll find no cliched symbols like nesting dolls or koklama motifs. Instead, the ordinary is tangled up in the tale of a nun journeying alongside the devil. Every frame of the game is designed to challenge and subvert expectations, offering an experience that defies convention.
Hey, where are you going? Hey, stop. I'm sorry. I don't really know how to... Forgive me.
There are many ways to tell a story. People make video games, TV shows, books, movies, etc. Indika understands the variable medium of video games and takes advantage of it. One minute, a game could be a hack and slash, while the next, it's a moving narrative film. There's a delightful absurdity to the concept that this game highlights better than any other game, especially because it knows exactly what it is.
What have you done?
There are too many instances of video games following the narrative flair of a film a bit too closely, up until the point it can feel stale. Too often do I see games, which operate within an infinite void, possessing an internal camera that can go anywhere and do just about every visual trick in the book, and directors do nothing with that immense power. Now, plenty of games cite films as a source of inspiration, thus emulating their look and style. That's fair, but come the hell on. When I say infinite possibilities, I mean it. In real life, filmmakers have to adhere to the geometry of their surroundings as well as physics and gravity. You can't just hover a camera in the air, it has to be propped up by a crane. In a video game setting, the director can say, I want the camera here, and a couple of calibrations later, and you have a cinematic gaming experience. Amazing. Say what you will about the Resident Evil 3 remake, but its cinematography is excellent and proves that games have the potential to transcend traditional filmmaking. The game devs of Indika understand this idea to at least some degree, given they go buck wild with the camera with every opportunity that they get. There are so many instances throughout this playthrough that make me go wow. Indika, as described, emerges as a profound narrative experience that delves into complex themes of faith, disillusionment, and the quest for personal autonomy within a religious and culturally dense framework. The game's thematic exploration is rooted in a starkly anti-religious sentiment, challenging traditional beliefs and institutional dogma through its characters, settings, and narrative developments. Indika fundamentally questions the legitimacy and influence of religious authority through its storyline and game mechanics. The journey of the protagonist, Indika, from a nun to a figure of renunciation symbolizes a rejection of blind faith and institutionalized religion. The game highlights this through the ineffectiveness of the religious icon, the Coudets, which fails to perform the miracles expected of it. This disillusionment with promised divine intervention is a clear critique of the exploitation of faith by religious entities for power and control. Chort, as a devil-like figure, embodies Indika's inner doubts and serves as a constant reminder of the internal conflict between her religious upbringing and her personal experiences. His promise to disappear only when Indika reaches a state of total indifference underscores the game's exploration of faith as not just a spiritual dilemma but a deeply personal and psychological struggle. The interactions with Chort drive the narrative forward, highlighting the challenges of confronting and overcoming deeply ingrained beliefs. The game employs surrealistic and Dadaist elements to distort the player's perception of the game world, mirroring the confusion and chaos of Indika's spiritual journey. The exaggerated and bizarre scales of objects outside the monastery reflect a distortion of values and reality often experienced in moments of deep personal crisis.
You didn't believe in it from the start. You were angry that a miracle could happen to me. No. To a person like me.
No.
So dumb and jealous.
This artistic choice emphasizes the disorientation that comes with questioning foundational beliefs and the surreal nature of existential revelations. Indika critiques the gamification of spirituality, where religious practices and icons are collected for points, only to reveal their ultimate pointlessness. This mechanic serves as a meta-commentary on the futility of seeking spiritual validation through material or superficial means. The game suggests that true spiritual enlightenment cannot be qualified or achieved through external validation, but is a more personal and introspective journey. The climax of the game, where Indika renounces her religious life by discarding her head covering in the Coudets, symbolizes her liberation from the shackles of religious expectations. This act of defiance is not just a personal liberation, but also a broader statement against the societal pressures that enforce conformity through religious and cultural norms. The theme of indifference, as proposed by Chort's disappearance condition, introduces a philosophical reflection on detachment as a form of personal power. Indika's journey towards indifference is not portrayed as a loss, but as a gain of autonomy over her life and beliefs. This perspective aligns with existential and Stoic philosophies, which advocate for emotional detachment as a way to achieve true freedom from external influences and internal turmoil.
Usually people show up about their legs.
And? They grow back.
It's not about that.
Indika is a narrative that uses its settings, characters, and gameplay mechanics to craft a compelling critique of religious institutions and the personal toll of maintaining faith in a world riddled with contradictions and moral complications. It challenges players to reflect on the nature of belief, the pursuit of spiritual authenticity, and the liberation that comes with embracing one's truth, free from doctrinal constraints. Through its anti-religious stance, the game encourages a reevaluation of how faith is structured and practiced in society, pushing for a more introspective and personal approach to spirituality.